How many more fights would you say? I know you said maybe one, but come on.
I don't know, 1, 2.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not one of those guys. I told you I'm not one of those guys that's going to be fighting until I'm 45 and I'm punchy.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now? No, how? He fought in one division. He had a WBC,
he didn't fight all
WBA,
four. He wasn't
IBF.
undisputed. He wasn't undisputed.
He wasn't. No, what I'm saying is they already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope he do well. But like, once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same weight as Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody. You this, you that, you this, you that. So now they trying to blemish.
Terence Crawford has dispatched Errol Spence Jr. a taunting response after Errol Spence unexpectedly called him out. Wanting a rematch, Crawford feels Errol Spence is a quick money scheme for him. Thus the result wouldn't be any different from how the first fight went. If it lit, would even be worse. Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. have fired up a rivalry many believed was dead after Spence was knocked out cold 2 years ago.
Just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna do that. Because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't got right now.
However, Spence is ready to make his comeback to the ring. Sunni's one of the numerous choices he has on his table that he has decided to enter the ring opposed to Crawford once more. But he didn't. Errol planned all of these on his own. Spence had no choice but to do this after he discovered Crawford's remark on a podcast asserting that he was unfit or eligible to participate in the International Spence of the Boxing Hall of Fame, and a number of additional boxing experts were located. Crawford's remarks were deemed offensive and requesting Errol's fighter Spence level, who emerged from a catastrophic vehicle collision to defeat the top-tier rivals, and who overthrew the ruling 3 welterweight champions, will unite belts within the division.
Is there ever a possibility where you would rematch Errol Spence? Or is he in a position where he needs to win again before that makes sense for you?
The possibility is there.
I'm walking over my feet. You know, I want to get out the game. I got kids. Got a mom and dad, and they want to enjoy me. So,
to spend his one defeat in boxing, he shouldn't be prevented from entering the Hall of Notoriety, Glory, or the loss versus Crawford eclipses his 28 triumphs. But Spence isn't even prepared for 22 knockouts. He intends to use the law in his arguments, his own hands, and make every effort to overcome undisputed for the first time in 2 categories of weight during the 4-belt era. The belief of Errol Spence is that once if he beats Crawford, there won't be any disagreements on his induction into the Hall of Fame position in reaction to the allegations made by Crawford when he challenged him for a rematch. Now Crawford has given the most savage reply, asserting that any altercation with easy money is Errol Spence.
Everything got to come to the end, and sadly this definitely got to come to the end. So I'm definitely going to get out while I still can and not either be forced out or I have to keep fighting because I need money.
Add one more belt, though.
It's a continuing argument in the boxing community about whether Errol Spence warrants a seat in the Boxing Hall of Fame. This discussion started gaining up steam following the 2 weights. Undisputed victor and former Spence rival Terence Crawford spoke at the Pound for Pound podcast's Topic with Usman Kamaru, and Crawford Henry Sejudo emphasized that he could take today off, that in his sporting achievements will see to it that he enters the Boxing Hall of Fame. But he wasn't entirely certain about his erstwhile adversary receiving the same treatment that he didn't enjoy. Despite everything I've done, he's still making an effort to achieve when pushed harder. Crawford began enumerating Spence's work thus far.
Showed a lot of poise, broke him down, and was able to stop him at the end.
Everybody's wondering what's going on with you and Terence Crawford. This fight going to happen?
I think it's going to happen. We both want to fight. I want to fight. He wants to fight. And, it's going down to negotiations. So I definitely going to get the fight this year. And we're going to square off this year with the biggest fight in boxing.
It is the biggest fight in boxing. Where and when, if you were guessing?
I don't know where, I don't know when, but it's definitely going to be this year.
All right.
Introduction 5. He engaged in combat in only a single division and never brought the belts, but he wasn't uncontested, Was not, but I am suggesting that you have already referred to him as a weight bully. He defeated Kell Brook after a defeat, and Crawford mentioned an eye injury while attempting to defend his claims. Because the podcast broadcast, there has been a significant backlash from professionals and admirers alike. The former World Super Featherweight Boxing Organization J.L. Herring, the champion, has joined the discussion, offering his viewpoint on the issue. Herring recommended that Helikis Crawford, but he doesn't share his, consider Errol Spence Jr. to be a united winner in one of the most storied bouts in boxing. He started his lengthy exposed with divisions.
Fandor, for his title, I'm fighting for a title, and there's a possibility. He win his fight, God willing. I win my fight, God willing. And there's your possibility right there.
Herring emphasized that Spence beat each and every world champion in the division to bring all of the belts together, and note, there were no open belts. Refuting Crawford's assertion, Herring included Shawn Porter and Kell Brook, why Dennis US were all in control, holders of titles when he defeated them. The Spence, 39, emphasized Spence triumphs over Danny and Mikey Garcia, the latter being especially striking since it followed Spence as he packed for a potentially fatal vehicle accident. Arenas assisted and sold pay-per-view represent the welterweight class during his accomplishments, influence, and run stack up with a lot of people already in the Hoff. Herring seen to wrap up the according to a former world champion, losing to one of the top fighters in Spence's legacy is not erased by the sport. Errol Spence Jr.'s achievements are Hall of Fame, without a doubt. In the meanwhile, one of Spence's former rivals of Jr. have also made remarks regarding Dennis Ugas, and Errol Spence Jr. retaliated in April 2024 prior to Crawford ending Spence's unbeaten run had earned him a 10th round victory over Ugas via technical knockout, which had given the Cuban combatant an damaged eye in spite of the apparent loss. The Ugas have no animosity against the reality, as he expressed his viewpoint based on Crawford's assertions. I even believe if today was Errol Spence Jr.'s retirement, I believe he would be inducted into the Hall of Fame, similar to Herring the Cuban. In a tweet noted that Spence returned from his vehicle accident in order to win eye surgery titles. He mentioned that he possesses an amazing tale of surviving his severe injury as me eye, but that as boxing Ugas conveyed his respect for have battled Spence Jr., but asserted that he's still hoping for Spence's return. Combatants are adversaries, not foes, concluded because Crawford managed to capture the WBO welterweight championship in his initial TKO battle at 147 PBS in June 2018 triumph over Jeff Horn. There was demands a summit conference to address for years. One obstacle loomed. Crawford was one of the major competitor promoters, promoted for years by a higher position, but Spence supports PBC and its businesses seldom ever do business together because it was a significant obstacle to Crawford's eagerly awaited battle. Turned into a free agent for promotion after a TKO victory in the 10th round over in November 2021. Shawn Porter paved the way. Preparation for a possible fight with Spence. The Sid has been conversing for the majority of they were about to finish the year. A September agreement, but negotiations broke down on the 11th hour.
Kill says I feel like advantage over him. But at the end of the day, I feel like this fight is basically so even. You know, it's going to be more about just being more focused and, you know, not getting out of focus, especially in the later rounds, just making sure, staying on point all throughout the fight and making sure you don't lose focus, because that's how...
Crawford scored a highlight. Watch David Avanesian's 6th round knockout in Omaha, Nebraska, his hometown, in December from the Dallas-Fort Worth region. Spence scored a 10th in their most recent fight in April 2022 to round 1 via technical knockout over in Arlington, Texas. Your Dennis Ugas to win a 3rd welterweight championship. The Spence has never fought like Ugas since have surgery in August 2021 in order to he was scheduled to fix a detached retina. Battle the renowned Pacquiao that month, but pulled out of the game because Spence recovered better from his eye damage, more than before though, as he did when he recovered from a severe vehicle accident in October 2019 that posed a risk to put his career in danger. 14 months following the incident, Spence defeated Danny Garcia by choice, and whereas a lot of boxers have had Tor sign because to retinal detachment, Spence just got back from surgery. Similar to Sugar Ray Leonard in the 1980s, disrupt the orbital of UG.
Nothing really surprised me. He was just like I thought. It just my timing wasn't good today.
Questions for Errol Spence Jr.
Hey Errol, Keith Heideck from BoxingScene.com. What do you attribute your timing not being there to? Did you feel off physically or anything, or what was wrong in the fight?
Discussion over Spence being a Hall of the initial spark for Famer came from Terence. Crawford won by defeating Errol Spence Jr. the uncontested welterweight Tightline 2023 on July 29th at the T-Mobile Arena, Nevada's Las Vegas in front of a sold-out audience of 19,990. Crawford won the fight by dominating through a technical knockout in the 9th round and became the first welterweight champion without a fight. The first man champion since 2006 boxer at the age of the 4 belts to assert status as an undisputed champion in 2 weight classes. The knockout win marked the 11th straight finish. 9 of them are now entering the 6th round or later.
Your timing not being there too, did you feel off physically or anything, or what was wrong in the fight?
Yeah, felt a little off physically, but most times I get through it. So, I thought it was gonna be just like the other times, but
Introduction 9.
I couldn't.
But this was the most remarkable of all of them, as Crawford staked on a master class in boxing to practically control the battle from the time Spence dropped in the 2nd round, which was a role that Spence had never held before, who had never been dropped before in his successful career. By the conclusion of Errol Spence had lost the battle. 3 different instances of the same story as the Dream. Haney, Devon, was dropped 3 times en route to the initial defeat off his professional life. Crawford completed the battle, landing an incredible 60% of his 87 power shots and 42% of his jabs by a wide margin. Landing jabs were the most adversary.
Tell everybody, I don't go in there looking for the knockout. I go looking for the win. But if he get out of line, he's gonna be the next one down.
Began with Spence using pressure and dictating terms early, while Crawford carefully dastardly stayed back, choosing his times toes. He did at the end of the 1st round with no significant moments. Spence overreached on either fighter once, and Crawford was prompt toe counter with a powerful left hand. Sneak peek at the type of chess game anticipated in the early circles with Crawford, who is seen as more of an Spence.